Hello and welcome back to the JW Thoughts channel. My name is Wally and today we are going to be discussing my number one tip for people that are going back to the Kingdom Hall. Yes, the Jehovah's Witnesses recently announced that in-person meetings are going to be a thing again after all of the lockdowns and regulations surrounding the pandemic. So now that they're going back to in-person meetings, I have seen many people that are still physically in the organization, very nervous, worried about all of the dynamics surrounding going back to in-person meetings.
How nervous are you?
So I would like to put my 2 cents in the old slot machine. I don't even know what that means. Is there a 2-cent slot machine? This was a terrible intro. All right, before we get into our discussion, don't forget to drop a like on this video. It helps it get out to more people on YouTube, and I very much appreciate it. Also, I always say hi to you guys. Hi, my name's Wally, right? Don't be that person. That is tearing your movie ticket stub and you're like, hi, how's it going today? And they're just like, Theater 4. That's you right now if you don't just comment down below and say hi, Wally. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. I am going to be doing a lot more live streaming. And in order for you to get updates about when that's going to be happening, you have to have the notifications on or just regularly check the channel. So either one doesn't much matter to me, but turn on notifications if you'd like to know every time I'm going live. So, in-person meetings, let's do this.
Hold on. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, so for those of you that have never been a Jehovah's Witness, let me just give like a quick 1-minute precursor. The meetings are one of the most quintessential things that a Jehovah's Witness experiences in the organization, especially those that grow up in it. Your whole life is revolved around these meetings. You're going to meetings for service. You're going to well, in my time at least, so my personal experience, meetings for service twice a week. You're going to a meeting every Sunday. You're going to a meeting every Tuesday, and you're going to a meeting every Thursday. So you have all of these different meetings that you're constantly attending. You need to prepare for them. There's all of these different things. So meetings are just completely this little sphere. I can't remember the philosopher that came up with the spheres that surrounded the earth. Was it? No. Was it Plato? I think it was Plato. Wow. Everyone's going to laugh at me in the comments. I think it was Plato. Okay. Well, this platonic sphere that is surrounding your entire life and all these different layers are the meetings. So it's very important because it's weaved into your association with the organization, your duty as a Jehovah's Witness. It's meant as like a scale for how spiritual you are. If you have very good meeting attendance, if you're very regular, if you comment, if the people notice you've always studied for the meetings, you're always there for all your talks, you're like higher up on the scale and seen as more spiritual. Whereas if you miss, 2-3 meetings a week or something, you're seen as like, well, I don't know about that guy. He missed last Sunday's meeting because he went to the football game. And so it gets a little bit dodgy. So meetings are absolutely one of the most important things. It's like meetings, service, prayer, study. That's pretty much the biggies out there as far as like the day-to-day lives of Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, to get on to the meat of the subject, the Jehovah's Witnesses are going back to the meetings. Well, they have gone back. Now, I did pull up this article hey, I can slide that over, and now I have 2 screens. Thank you so much. You know who you are. I very, 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 very much appreciate that. Having 2 monitors makes life so handy and good. Okay, Jehovah's Witnesses return to meeting in person. So here is a article that they produced under their global news section. Da-da-da-da. Well, that probably wouldn't be the music. It'd be like bum 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 ba-da-da-da. I don't know. Was that a Mario theme? I can't remember. Either way, it doesn't much matter. With this article, Jehovah's Witnesses return to meeting in person. It says, beginning on April 1st, 2022, Jehovah's Witnesses return to in-person meetings. Any anxiety our brothers and sisters may have felt was quickly replaced by laughter, tears of joy, and enthusiastic singing of Kingdom Halls. This has to be one of the funniest sentences I've read, because anyone that was a witness for a long time, you know that at a meeting, it is astonishingly rare. And by astonishing, I mean people can you get 100 people in a room, people are going to laugh a decent amount. Not at meetings, though. The laughter on scale, like just get 100 people in a room and get them talking, or even going. I've been to many different churches, and their meetings are on. If we made a tier list of Jehovah's Witness meetings, they would be on like the poo-poo tier. But anyway, no laughter, tears of joy. I really can't even tell you how often I can't even think of a single example of a tear of joy being shed. Maybe when like a parent has someone that's announced as being baptized, but even not that really. I honestly can't even think of one. And enthusiastic singing of kingdom songs. Oh yes. Listen, obey, and be blessed was belted out by people who have been in the organization for years, singing like, listen, obey, and be blessed when you hear. And then there's like always like one sister like in the back, or I guess, no, there's equal amount brother or sister that's like classically trained or something. So they're like, it's a kid's song and like, listen, obey, and be blessed. And they're just like so over the top with it. It's so funny that they put that sentence in there. Anyway, the little article goes on and they talk about, for some, it was the first time they had ever been to a Kingdom Hall. And they go and tell the story about someone from Poland that came into the truth whenever they were doing Zoom meetings. And so they never actually got to do a in-person meeting, and they had to do their baptism on Zoom and blah, 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 blah. I honestly can't believe that this is a significant number. I don't even think it would be a paltry sort of number of people that came to join the Jehovah's Witnesses, other than someone that was born into it. I can imagine plenty of children were baptized, but for someone to get a letter of one of their terrible brochures, why does God allow suffering? Do you know who the real cause of suffering is? Satan. I can't actually imagine anyone receiving one of their stupid little pamphlets, or getting a phone call, or however they were going about their preaching. I can't imagine someone that already didn't have some sort of association coming into the organization. And if they did, it might be like 100 in the entire world. And that might be a little too generous of me. So it's funny that the witnesses are congratulating themselves on going back to in-person meetings. Now, it would have already played at this point, or we probably would have already talked about it, but on a live stream that I did recently, there was someone that was recently disassociated. And one of the more interesting things was on one of their first meetings back, they read in how like it's supposed to go, like someone who is disassociated normally, as far as my understanding goes, is they invite an elder up, the elder comes up and says, so-and-so is no longer one of Jehovah's Witnesses. But in this instance, which was one of the first in-person meetings back to the fray, whoever was doing the announcements was like super pumped and positive and like, oh yeah, we got so much great news, and mentioned something positive. And then they said, and also so-and-so is no longer one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, I would like to talk about how we have some new pioneers. And I'm not even being funny. You can go back and watch the video, or if not, I'll just like put the audio in the video if it doesn't make it. It's hard scheduling these things, but work with me here.
Friday at 9:10. So there will be no midweek meeting on Wednesday. Also to announce that Danielle Harden is no longer one of Jehovah's Witnesses. And we also have many other exciting announcements here when it comes to auxiliary pioneers.
One other quick note before we do move on is in this picture that they show. I think the only time they had an opportunity to take a picture with multiple people raising their hand is on an easy question when you know it will be only children raising their hand. So there's certain questions during a Watchtower study basically designed where the answer is going to be like, Jehovah helps us. My name's Jacob, and I'm only 6 years old. I'm only 6 years old, and I want to say that Jehovah helps us. Please. You can't take him from me, you apostates. Okay, they wouldn't really say that, but you get the idea. Anyway, I think that it's funny that they took a picture because as someone, well, there is one adult in the background, but as someone that gave lots of parts that were question and answer, I can tell you definitively the maximum hands raised, if it wasn't all of the little kids in the hall trying to give the Jehovah saves us answer, it was
drum roll, please.
3 maximum.
Doompa-dee-doom.
I never had in probably like 100 parts, I never had more than 3 people raise their hand at once. It was never a struggle like, oh, who am I going to call on? That thought never entered my mind a single time. So it's usually you're sitting up there like, thank you, Brother Johnson, for saving me. I was sweating bullets up here. Okay, so for my biggest piece of advice for those that are having to go to meetings for whatever various circumstances, something that I found a lot of benefit from because they moved into the digital era, so I could just be sitting there with my tablet and, you know, you turn your brightness down and no one really knows what you're looking at. And a lot of tablets, you can do multi-screen things as well, so I could have one so I could kind of sort of look like I was following the paragraph, but then I could also have my Watchtower library open. And what I did was just type in to the Watchtower library any weird, goofy words I could think of, and anything that I just wanted to get what Watchtower's previous thing. So if I wanted to look up all of their history to do with the generation teaching, well, do I want to spend my free time now that I'm mentally awake looking into that? Or would I rather just do that while I'm at the meeting? So meetings for me became essentially a time to research. And because giving talks is so easy and you don't need a whole lot of preparation for that, and honestly, if you want to keep up the pretense of being, whatever position you're in, it is, don't get me wrong, it is very stressful and it's really annoying having to deal with their bureaucratic nonsense. But if you are in a position where you're forced to do that, you may as well get something out of it. And so my piece of advice would be, why not just do as much research into JW like lore that you can, because no one can look over your shoulder and see you watching the basketball game or looking up apostate stuff or anything like that. So if you are in a position where you're forced to go to the meetings, I just found it fascinating to like type in homosexual, shunning, Armageddon, governing body, any date you want to choose. Like, you will find a lot of interesting things, and I know I sure did. And it really made the meetings almost something that I looked forward to in some weird, very weird way. And that I'm like, oh, okay, well, basically I'm going to be sitting there doing research for 2 hours, and then afterward I'll just volunteer to do some cleaning so I don't have to talk to anyone, and then I'm out of there. Bada bing, bada boom, I'm good to go. I did the exact same thing for service. I just tried to maximize the time I could work by myself and just give really, really lame excuses and sort of become that phantom pioneer. Or even when I was doing the cart witnessing, that was another great opportunity to be able to subtly try and like talk to the people I was working with. Because generally when you're doing the cart witnessing, you do it with the same people on a fairly regular basis, so you sort of become friends with them. So the conversations, the first time I'm like, well, what did you enjoy at Sunday's meeting? And eventually kind of transition into something resembling normal. And it's such a great opportunity because you guys are spending, I don't know how many hours, like 8 hours a week with the same person. So it gives you we would have like different crews, but with the same group of people, which is a lot, and you would have a lot of time to be able to talk to people. So you could sort of slip little things in or talk about, hey, I was doing some research for X, Y, and Z, and I came across this weird article, and show them something that's in the Watchtower library. I was like, I thought that was a little bit goofy that they said that. What do you think? Have you ever seen that before? And it's innocent and it's fun for you, being someone that's literally being tortured, having to go to these meetings. At least how it worked for me. It gave me something that I could A, look forward to, B, kind of feel like I was being a good little apostate secret boy that was planting my devious little seeds of doubt in people's minds. So anyway, that would be some of my tips, tricks, hints, whatever you want to call it, for having to deal with going to the meeting. Now, before I finish this, I must say, I do feel for you. I absolutely understand what you're going through if you do need to go to meetings, because I can honestly say that time that I woke up, that first moment where I was standing on stage and it just hit me like a wave, like something's wrong here. And from the moment that I gave the closing prayer to the last meeting I ever went to, I remember how stressful it was and how completely unpleasant it was. But I tried my hardest, like anyone I think does. You're stuck in traffic for a really long time. Well, you need to play music loud and sing, or try and play a game, or do something to try and make it a little bit better. So even though I can honestly say it was the most, ZZ found the squirrel, the most stressful time, I think, in my whole life, I can honestly say that there were moments in it that I was able to still find joy. I was still able to find a reason to do it that was beneficial to me and my mental health. So I don't know if that helps. If it doesn't, just comment down below. Tell me I'm a jackass and I don't understand, or I'm an old duff that doesn't know about what's going on in 2022. Whatever, that's fine. I can take it. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Drop a like on this video if you'd like to support the channel. We do have a Patreon. Links are in the description below. With all of that being said, I'll see you next time.